everybody. My name is William John Raitt, and this is Design and Invest. Today we are interviewing Shawn Kormondy, a dear friend of mine, a client, all-around businessman, and really cool guy. Let's go in and chat with him. All right, hey guys, I'm here with Shawn Kormondy, the realtor extraordinaire, Mr. Hollywood Hills Realtor.
Thank you.
Thank you. You see those guys on $1 million listings? This is the real deal out here in the hills. We are at one of his listings right now, off of Mulholland Drive, in a community. What is this called?
The Stone Ridge Estates.
Stone Ridge Estates.
Gated community of only 11 estates.
11 estates. It's really beautiful up here. This is a listing he just got. I thought this would be a good setting for this long-awaited interview. I've known Shawn for at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been working with him the whole time. And I started off doing design work and sort of property management for him at his rental properties. But he's a man that wears a lot of hats. On top of being one of the top realtors here in LA, he also is a slumlord. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's a landlord.
Oh my God.
He owns like 30-something doors in Echo Park. How long have you had those for?
I've been landlording since 2005.
2005. You stole those properties too, huh? You got those for real cheap. Yeah, he's had those for quite some time, and slowly each time each tenant moves out, he goes in and upgrades it. They have really cool decor in there. Not decor, it has really cool Art Deco character. Like original 20s and 30s tile.
Hipster character.
Super hipster. And it's in Echo Park, so it's like hipster central. But Shawn here, I want to talk about today his sort of journey into real estate and sort of the climb that he's gone through. And so why don't you give me your origin story? I'd love to hear that.
I started off in real estate. I'm in my 15th year now. I got into real estate in my late 20s. I think I was about 31 when I got licensed.
Did you have a career before that in something else? Or
I was doing film production and just kind of graphic design, film production, more of that style. And then I went back to college and finished my degree in real estate and finance, and wanted to just either go to the next level of work, and so I chose real estate. I assisted a real estate agent for probably about a year and a half before I got licensed, and so I kind of learned the ropes and the systems and whatnot. And then
are they still in the game?
Yeah.
Still
somewhat.
keep in contact with them?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Who is it?
George Garcia.
George Garcia?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And did you work for free at that time in the beginning, or did you?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much like every job that I ever got, I started off working for free.
That's
because
yeah.
I mean, if you want something and you have no experience, why is somebody going to, pay you?
I hear people say that all the time. They're like, oh, well, because I'm worth more than that. I'm like, well, by who? Who's paying you? Like, you want to get into this industry, you don't know it, go work for a top dog or someone that you respect, and learn the ropes. Don't be afraid to work for free.
Yeah, I remember like the first kind of like task that he gave me was, he was into, he was a.k.a. sober, and he had clients that were looking for sober living opportunities.
Okay.
And so he had me call all these. He's like, come in on a Saturday, here's a list of numbers, call these people, see if they want to purchase this new listing that I had that, was kind of it was like a retirement home in West Hollywood, but since it was already set up for a retirement home, it could easily be like a halfway house or something. So I did that, and put some connected some dots, and then from there, I guess I kind of proved myself on that one day, because I actually came back with some leads, and then just started hustling, man, and hustling. Did
you where did you go to school?
Cal State Northridge.
Okay. All right. And you went there the full.
Well, I went to Santa Monica College, and then Cal State Northridge. So
very cool. I took the Santa Monica route to UCSB.
Yeah.
And that was a nice chapter.
Yeah.
But okay, so we have what do you say, David Garcia?
George Garcia.
George Garcia as your starting point. Worked for him for, you said, a year and a half or so.
Yeah, a year and a half, and then he was at Prudential Beverly Hills, and he wanted to bring his group over to Keller Williams Realty in Beverly Hills, and at that time, Keller Williams was a new brand. Not many people had heard of it, and you didn't really see many Keller Williams signs, 15 years ago. And so we moved over to Keller Williams Beverly Hills. I remember Christian Stevens; he was the office manager, and then my mentor, was David Bailey, who's the operating principal for the Beverly Hills office and Los Feliz office, and fast forward 15 years, here I am,
still
grinded. Yeah. So been there 15 years. Yeah.
I know a lot of people in your shoes, because you do push a lot of weight in this industry and sell a lot of properties. Usually sort of branch off and have their own sort of brokerage house, or kind of you still hang your hat with Keller Williams. Is there a reason for that, where you haven't branded off and done like
I mean, Keller Williams, you cap out. So I mean, for the effort of being your own broker and the lack of exposure your individual brokerage name would have, it's just more beneficial just to, in my situation, to hang my license with a brokerage that's got, international presence and reach, and, is known. So, that's just never a topic of conversation, like, well, who is Shawn Kormondy Realestate? So I'm comfortable. Been there forever. And,
he's got a team there. He's got a whole little sort of office quarter there. He let me buy his office lunch one time when he was giving land use speech. So that was pretty cool. I met a bunch of realtors out at his office. I'd love to do that again next time you guys got something going on. But,
absolutely.
Shawn, he works with a lot of developers like myself, and he really knows land. It's also known as
Landman. Have you seen my signs in the Hollywood Hills?
He is everywhere, man. He's a big land guy. So LA Landman is a sort of a brand he has for his land properties and stuff that he sells. And if you, like he said, if you go up down any of these canyons, Coldwater, Laurel, you see his signs everywhere. And land, it sits there for a while, right? A lot of times when you're selling land. Well,
yeah. I mean, land. There's not as many buyers looking for land. Land's very specific. So, like I tell anybody I'm taking a listing for, it's like, hey, sometimes it could sell in a week, sometimes it could sell in a year,
How many land listings do you have right now?
Probably, I'm usually around like 50 or 60.
50 or 60, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And what's the biggest land that you've maybe sold or been a part of selling?
The biggest, price point is probably like in the, $3 to $4 million range.
How big of a lot was it?
I don't remember, man.
Huge though, huh?
Well, not really, because I mean, when you're in the city, I mean, a half acre. Yeah.
I know you have a lot of like land, like
out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
You're like, $10 an acre.
Yeah. There's nothing impressive about that. I am in escrow right now selling 21 acres in Shadow Hills.
I saw that.
That's a big.
I have a flip up there right now.
Yeah.
I just hit the market.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as like land mass, I mean, that's probably the biggest, amount of land in one sale. But, city of Los Angeles, there's not that much land. Yeah. So, it's relatively smaller lots.
That's great. So tell me how you got into the apartment owning and just sort of that area? Because a lot of realtors, they don't. I mean, most of my clients are realtors. They don't take that leap of being a landlord. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't own properties. It blows my mind. I'm like, how are you not, like, you come across deals all the time. Aren't you sort of scooping them some for yourself, or like looking out? I mean, you have.
Well,
you
right.
do, you know?
I mean, kind of like my original mindset when I got into real estate was thinking like, hey, I want to kind of invest in real estate, like flip real estate, you know, be more on the investor side. So by being the real estate agent, you're supposed to like be able to get, you know, better leads and stuff. And so that was my initial intent, you know, by getting into real estate. And what I found out, I started around 2004, and I did pick up a couple of properties back then, but they, you know, the market was kind of hot. You know, it was, you know, the market was going up, and I found myself, you know, priced out of a lot of deals, you know, but thankfully that led to me having capital when the market crashed, and then that's where I really, you know,
is that when you picked up a lot of Echo Park stuff?
Oh yeah, all the Echo Park properties were all picked up during the crash.
He's like primo Echo Park. He's right off Echo Park Avenue, Logan right there. He's got one on Park, right across the street from the park, literally. That one, what did you pick up? $400,000?
$350, yeah, for a fourplex.
Fourplex for $350,000 across the street from Echo Park. Park. Like, insanity. That's like the ultimate score, bro.
That was.
That's got to be worth at least a couple right now.
Well, I mean, now, like as a fourplex, it's worth probably like 1.2. You know,
really? That's it. You think?
Yeah, the one on Park.
Because they're only one bedrooms, right? Or
yeah, they're one bedrooms.
One bedrooms.
You know,
okay,
so but I am putting plans on it with the new TOC incentives to do a 14-unit apartment building there. So my goal is to, you know, develop that apartment building and, you know, keep it.
Yeah, that's a really smart move.
Yeah.
And that's like primo real estate right there too. So
oh yeah.
Would you do like subterranean parking, or how would you do the?
Yeah, there you got to do, because I'm street to street, and then there's a probably about a story and a half of elevation from Park Avenue to Bonnie Bray. So I'm doing like, you know, parking via Bonnie Bray and parking via Park, you know, so yeah, there's going to be a podium.
Can you explain to people what TOC is and what I know that's
sure.
Yeah, it's a really,
so transit-oriented communities. Basically, it was part of a proposition JJJ, and you know, the goal was, you know, the city of Los Angeles has put all this money into Metro, you know, trying to make this more of a transit-oriented city. So why not cluster development around, you know, subway stops, bus stops,
and incentivizing.
Yeah, so people can walk to work, and you know, create more infill, and so that was, you know, that was a huge, you know, boon for development.
Explain how that affects development, parking, things like that, like in the zones themselves. Like,
well, yeah. So I mean, they created 4 tiers, and basically tier 4. If you're within, I forget now, it's either 750 feet or 1,500 feet. I think it's 750. If you're within 750 feet from a subway stop, then you have, no, for tier 4, it's from a subway stop, then you have no parking required.
No parking requirements. You could build without having any parking.
No parking,
which is crazy. And then the density, and then also all the...
then you get like a density bonus of 80%, you know.
It's insanity, yeah.
And yeah, tier 4 properties are very rare. I did sell one of them to a client who's developing, you know, 18 units on North Berendo, just south of Beverly, that will have no parking, you know.
How did you bring him that deal, or
yeah,
and then you sort of pitched to him that, hey, this is what's going down. See, this is why he's so great at his job, is because he knows all the ins and outs of these laws and restrictions and what you can do. Like, when you know land use well and you're a realtor, like, you can have those kind of clients like he has in his back pocket, developers, people that he knows, hey, I can bring this deal to this guy because this is the kind of game he's in. And I mean, trust me, it's so powerful to be able to have that. And Shawn actually gives speeches and stuff about this topic because he's, taking interest in this and rightly so. I mean, as a realtor, if I was a realtor, I'd be honing down on all this stuff too. And it's surprising that a lot of realtors just don't know this stuff.
Well, I mean, it's complicated. I mean, and there's not many realtors that are really into on the land side. I mean, there's probably like a handful of realtors that are really, on the commercial that, or like myself, who's kind of like commercial residential. And it's, God, only if you've gone through it do you know it.
Yeah. Do you know much about opportunity zone stuff? Or?
That was a big sell buzz in 2018. I think I could just say, hey, it's opportunity zone and it's sold.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit what the benefits are of that?
You know what? The funny thing is who knows what the benefits are?
It is a little ambiguous. Like
all I care about is it sells property. How about that?
So basically, what my knowledge is of it is if you have a business or a development in an opportunity zone, you can really the tax incentives that go along with that for high net worth buyers and people developers who have a lot of money. They're just sort of shoveling over here trying to not pay tax, shoveling over here doing all of that. It's a way to sort of shelter that to where you could just kind of kick that can down the road indefinitely. I mean, it seems like that, to some degree.
Yeah, that
paying the taxes that is.
They got. It was brand new tax law, and the IRS didn't really clarify it until like halfway through the year. And I haven't been selling that many opportunity zones anymore. It was hot in 2018. But like 2019, opportunity zones and TOC projects were a lot colder than they were in 2018 when they're all fresh and everybody was like jumping on them.
So aside from this listing that you have right now that he just got, we'll get to this one in a minute. We'll give it a look around and take a tour of it. Do you have anything cool that you're working on that or have listed that's I mean, I'll let you be the judge of cool.
Oh yeah, no. As far as my new listings right now, I mean, this is kind of the top of the plate because this is
you got the Highland Park one that you're selling for my brother.
Oh yeah, okay, Riverside Terrace.
Not Highland Park. That's
no, it's Silver Lake. Yeah, right next to Frogtown. So that's a beautiful duplex. Well, it's two homes on lot. He built a brand new construction, 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath home in the rear of an existing 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And I've been working with Andrew, your brother, for as long as you, over 10 years. I will say it's the best finish I've seen him.
Yeah, he's really upgrading.
I've seen him complete, and it was very the finish is
any
impeccable.
Activity on that yet?
Yeah, I had like the daughters come through, dad came through, agent came through. So, been having good open houses. It's a matter of time before that's sold.
By the way, we did a lot of tricked out stuff at that property on the smart home front too.
Oh yeah.
Do you have all the logins and all the?
The Sonos. Yeah. I mean, even this house, which is a different caliber of house, is wired with Sonos, and I've always been more keen to Control 4 smart home technology, but it seems like as far as like music's concerned, Sonos integrates now with Control 4, and like this house is run on Savant, which is a very expensive system, and the technology with the Lutron lights at Riverside Terrace is great.
Yeah, so Shawn is not only that agent to the stars and the land use guy, he lives that lifestyle too. He lives on Mulholland Drive in a badass house overlooking the canyons, pretty sweet property. Tell us about that house, because I know that house, just in a nutshell,
Yeah.
I know that you did significant work on building that house, basically
Right.
completely redoing that house.
Yeah.
Like, when you bought it, what was it? Like, did you add square footage? Did you?
No, I mean, when I bought it, it was, in the depths of the recession, and it had fallen in and out of escrow a couple of times before, it was reintroduced to the market at a much, lower rate. And, I picked it up right away because I had sold my house, thankfully, like right before the crash, and was renting and looking, to buy something. So the timing, worked out, and it was built in '89, so it had that boxy contemporary look.
Yeah.
So it lends itself to being modernized and being more of an architectural estate.
It's easier to mold when you're with a box like that.
Yeah, and like all the rooms are big, they're all in suite.
Yeah, I love your property.
So
Did it have the decks already established when you bought it?
Well, yeah, the decks.
Tier.
Yeah, I mean, I had the decks, spanned, but in the middle of the decks, they had created like planters on each floor, which were actually rotting out the decks because they would just collect water.
Yeah.
So I connected each deck, so it's just one long span.
That's great. You see yourself there for? Is that your?
I mean, I don't see myself there forever, but it's when you pick something up for what I picked it up for, it kind of makes it hard to move.
Yeah.
And
he's like,
because you got low tax bases.
Do you ever get annoyed by all the tour buses, right?
Yeah,
he's like, all the tour buses
up
are going
outposts. Yeah, it's like going up and down outposts, but they've kind of regulated those now.
Oh,
There's not as many as there was before.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years.
10 years.
I've actually become more, disenchanted with honestly, with investing in Los Angeles as real estate. I mean, I think the rent control laws are anti-development.
Yep.
The city of Los Angeles right now is anti-real estate, in my opinion. So I've been kind of looking outside of Los Angeles, and I acquired a 10-acre ranch in Bend, Oregon, Central Oregon, a few years ago. And my connection with Bend has been long. I have extended family there and been going there since I was a child. So,
Bend going there?
No, yeah, Bend going there. I've been Bend going there. So now I'm in the process of entitling a 15-site, yurt campsite. Which I feel is more. It's just kind of more my lifestyle and more, where it's just more enjoyable. It's cool. More.
How much time do you spend out there?
I've always, spent a few weeks every summer since the beginning of time. So like this last summer, I spent the entire summer up there, working on my ranch. It's irrigated. I have, livestock. So.
What kind of livestock? I know you have goats and stuff.
Goats and chickens. I was going to get some, because I have two pastures, and I was going to get a couple of Angus, cattle. And then my thought was I'd feed them CBD, and then you have CBD steaks, baby, because CBD steaks.
You're a
duh, charge double.
Did you get some of those fainting goats while you're at it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I got some milking goats. I got some Nubian.
Get out there and milk the goats?
Yeah.
Get
like
TikTok content?
Fresh goat milk is actually delicious.
Don't you have to pasteurize it and stuff? Or?
No, you just drink it straight out of the goat. It's the
straight
best.
Straight out the goat?
Yeah. You just, it's warm and sweet. It's just like...
I would try it.
Goat milk cures all. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's so odd that he's into this kind of stuff, but he's Mr. Hollywood Hills agent. And
it's been a long time, I've
awesome.
done LA.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So you are trying to sort of tone back on LA, and you said something interesting too about having noticed, and I've noticed this too, that LA is very anti-real estate right now and development, which is crazy because we have a housing shortage, and you think it's kind of counterproductive. They're putting in play regulations that, like the rent control regulations and this, and now with Airbnb stuff, and like, I mean, there's so many things they're cracking down on. They're not doing the right things for the right, like to incentivize low-income housing or this or that. Like, they're just not getting the job done, in my opinion.
No.
Or putting the right legislation in place. And
no.
What would you see? And if you were them, you had to solve the housing shortage crisis and this and that. How would you incentivize not realtors, but developers to build these? And I mean, I know that they're doing a lot of stuff with the ADU regulations, and they just got the new one that passed that allows you to build another ADU, like a junior ADU. And that's a step in the right direction, I think. But what would you do to solve that, or to at least kind of?
Well, I think that David Rue. I follow him on social media, and I see Mitch O'Farrell, David Rue. They're kind of 11th. Our saves for, this homeless epidemic that, happened because essentially they started gentrifying downtown, so they had to move all the homeless out, and all the homeless just went everywhere else. So everyone, has homeless encampments around them, and, he's making this plea right now to restrict the Ellis Act and put more restrictions on the Ellis Act, which are only going to make development less feasible. And his argument was like, oh, when I was a kid as an immigrant, I lived in an apartment building with a low rent, and if my life would have been upended if a landlord came through and kicked us out, and because they wanted to redevelop the property. And in my mind I was like, back then your immigrant parents could have walked into Building and Safety with architectural drawings and said, hey, this is the dream home I want to build it, and the city would be like, okay, go ahead and build it. Now someone with no experience in building couldn't walk. They could walk in and submit plans, but unless have deep pockets and have experience, in navigating through all the, preemptive booby traps that have basically been set up by the system. The system of City of Los Angeles is not for the people, to build. It's against the people to build, and so when a simple person, who has no experience, who's never built a home before in their life, but hired an architect and walks in and gets approved to build that home without any input from neighbors or getting all these fees, like everywhere you turn there's a fee now, then housing will be affordable. But right until that day happens, which I don't see it happening, but housing will remain expensive.
And people are up in roar, they're mad at the system and gentrifiers and this and that. But I mean, there's two sides of that coin. Like, I mean, people are, like, for instance, what I'm building in North Hollywood, I'm tearing down single family homes and building triplexes and fourplexes and fiveplexes, and there's more housing. When it turns around, the housing is not going to be cheap housing, but there's going to be more of it available. So what's that going to, I understand both sides of the coin. I know that's going to push out people that are lower income, but it's, that's always been life. That's always been LA. That's always been big cities, and different pockets get shifted around, and then that one gets gentrified, and this one, and then all of a sudden, it comes back. And there's areas that were gentrified 20 years ago that are now, shitholes that basically are. So it's just a cycle. It's just how real estate and how the game has always been played. What I don't like is when people try to throw all these gentrifier words like that, but they don't have a solution that solves the housing crisis. They just want you to stop what you're doing and like things like that, which is like doesn't make any sense to me. So there's a show I've been watching called Vita. No. I think it's Netflix or Amazon or one of those, maybe Hulu. One of those online streaming platforms. It's in Boyle Heights. It's set in Boyle Heights, and it talks about like how families get pushed out, and, and it's a sort of series based on that. But it's pretty interesting to see that from their perspective, kind of like how they feel. But they don't offer up solutions that are practical or that make sense to the housing shortage, and but which LA definitely has. I mean, there's not enough homes for people to live in. Definitely not enough affordable homes. If they incentivize people to build more, like let's say I have this lot and they said, okay, well, if you make affordable housing, you can build 80 units or whatever. And I know that there is a bit of that, but developers aren't doing it. It's not, I mean, what I'm seeing out there, it's all scam stuff. It's like they're spending way too much money on these, and it's like some mafioso type stuff that I'm seeing, and like it's really weird space that I don't know. I just stay away from all that personally. I don't even get involved in it. But they're up in arms right now about the Clippers stadium. Did you hear about that? Yeah. Steve Ballmer is trying to build stadium in Inglewood, and they're now like hiring all these lawyers and like trying to tell him that it was never offered up to the affordable housing sort of mafia type system first. It was just turned straight to that. And you know what, Steve Ballmer, I'm sure he's going to answer this. I mean, because he's a very big philanthropist. I'm sure he's going to be like, okay, well, here, I'll give $2 billion towards a housing department. He'll do something like that, because that's just kind of guy he is. Right. But I mean, they're just arguing, trying to stop it. They're not offering up a solution for it, or I mean, okay, let's say it is offered to the housing people. Like, what's going to happen there? They're going to. I don't know. I think it's a broken system that needs a lot of repair, and I don't know enough about it to even talk deeper about that. But let's turn conversations a little bit to this property and this particular listing, because this is a really badass house. Okay. You're listing for what?
It's going to be on the market for $11.995. 9,200 square feet.
Interior square footage, 9,200. Does that count like any overhangs or?
No.
So it's not.
No, that's interior square footage.
How big is the lot itself?
3/4 of an acre.
Okay.
Yeah, all flat. Yeah, and there's lots of balcony space. Every bedroom on the second floor has their own private balcony
and bathroom.
All en suite. The house is recently renovated. I mean, it's amazing architectural design. I love the entry, the double height entry.
Let's walk
into this atrium.
All right, so Shawn Kormondy is about to give us the tour of the house. So knock knock.
Who's there?
There he is.
Welcome. Hey, come on in, John.
So this
the man about town
is a giant pivot door. It looks like about 5-6 feet. All right.
Very good pivot door, double entry, foyer here. Come on in, don't be shy. Look at that atrium. So the house is 9,200 square feet, and it wraps around this center atrium, water-filled atrium with a amazing metal sculpture, and it's an open-air atrium. And you have your natural stone throughout. But take a look at this, stairway to heaven, mirrored wall.
It's beautiful.
And with the brass railings, I always like white on brass. So here we are, in-home theater room. Take a look.
It's beautiful. It's like zebra wood with coppered ceilings, underlit. I'm sure the system in here is Dolby,
amazing.
All this and that. And
surround sound, everything. So we have your living room. The living room opens up to the pool. 2 double doors, bar, fireplace. Overheight ceilings, and pretty, just amazing indoor-outdoor flow.
This is a dope ass pool, man. It's a dope back area.
Baja spa over there. and it's all uplit at night. You know, and take a look over here, all this space, fire pit.
Yeah, I love the level changes in sort of different zones. You have your fire sort of pit over there.
Yeah. Outdoor dining, heater.
Do they have a kitchen over there too? Like a
Yeah, yeah.
it's like a grill.
Uh-huh.
Pizza oven.
Yeah.
Did a pizza oven?
Sure.
Sure.
You want that. We have the dining area. Ample seating for 8. Loads of light. You know, a satisfactory wine room. And then the kitchen. You know, all Miele appliances. You know, fridge. Lots of condiments. Fridge of condiments. Gotta take that out. And you know, stainless steel countertop kitchen. You got a little, you know, coffee bar here, wet bar. So you got mirrored walls here. Here's your family room. And the family room opens up to the outdoor space again. Take a look.
Do those collapse up to one side? Yeah.
Yeah, they open
In the middle.
Open in the middle. So the master suite has its own private balcony, fireplace, surround sound.
Hey Shawn, I really appreciate you doing this interview with me and
Thanks for
telling me your
stopping
story
by.
and showing us your listing.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. I've been talking for a long time about shooting some stuff.
Yeah, finally.
And we'll give you a little video and some more footage of this property so you can check it out. But remember guys, design, invest, repeat.